Good afternoon. I'm Johanna Erica Pulzon, and my topic for today will be leadership and dealing with change. The outline of my presentation will be the reality of change, leaders' role in change management, organizational change, and the difference between change leadership and change management. The reality of change. As the saying says, change is inevitable, growth is intentional. Meaning, change is going to happen. There is no option for us to do anything but to accept it. For example, the change in our body, our looks are inevitable. We get old at some point in life, regardless of how we protect it. And with the change, there comes responsibilities that we must adapt and accept. Some people accept those and grow, while others remain behind. Growth is about change in your mindset, your beliefs, your life, and thoughts. That is why you need to change your attitude if you want to grow. Dealing effectively with change requires taking a collaborative approach within the organization. Progress and improvement always requires change. These are some of the reasons why change occurs in an organization. The challenges of growth or decline that an organization is facing. Changing global markets. Changes in strategy. Technological change. Competitive processes including obtaining adequate funding, pressures to develop new clients and customers, in a changing economic environment. The problem is not only how to acquire new concepts and skills, but also how to unlearn things that are no longer serving the organization well. Our quest for status quo pushes us to seek the management of what is rather than seeking leadership for what could be. So dahil po nagse-settle na tayo sa status quo or the current situation, mahihirapan na po tayong mag-adapt sa changes. So yun po minsan yung nagiging problema sa organization. Kasi yung iba nahihirapan mag-adjust, mas nagse-settle na sila doon sa nakasanayan nila. But it would be difficult to find any thinking person who believes the change will not occur. Change like death and taxes is inevitable. So the important issue is for managers and leaders to cope with the barrage of changes that confront them daily as they attempt to keep their organizations adaptive, resilient, and valuable. The true leader must be able to embrace change and use it in ways that benefit the growth and sustainability of the organization. As Mahatma Gandhi says, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. Leaders' role in change management. Leaders play a critical role during the organization's attempt to embrace change. It takes a leader to create positive change. And leadership is critical from the announcement of change through the implementing of the change. So kapag nagkakaroon na po ng announcement ng changes, especially changes in managers or bosses, nagkakaroon po ng confusion, fear, loss of direction, reduced productivity, or syempre, naninibago pa sila, so yung productivity nila hindi ganun ka-proactive, and lack of clarity about direction and expectations. Syempre, dun sa nakasanayan nila, iba yung parang ine-expect nila or iba yung expectation sa kanila. Syempre, pag nagkaroon ng pagbabago, maiiba po ulit yon. So it can be a period of high emotion with employees grieving for what is lost and initially unable to look to the future. During the period of changes, effective leaders need to focus on two things. The feelings and confusion of employees must be acknowledged and validated. So hindi po maiiwasan ito lalo na kung sudden po yung pagpapalit lalo na ng nag-handle ng isang organization. At lalo na kung magkaiba po yung directives nila and approach. Minsan talaga nakakalito or minsan nakakainis rin kasi pabago-bago nga po yung pinapagawa. Kaya po dapat i-acknowledge and i-validate yun ng isang effective leader. And the leader must work with employees to begin creating a new vision of the altered workplace and help employees to understand the direction of the future. So kailangan po maipaliwanag din sa mga employees at kung ano po ba yung kahalagahan ng pagbabago na yon or kung bakit may changes kasi hindi naman mangyayari yun ng basta-basta lang. So there are reasons nga po gaya ng nabanggit kanina kung bakit merong changes. An effective leader knows how to incorporate the reality of change into the organization's attempt to move successfully into the future. Change is unpredictable and often uncomfortable. So sometimes we tend to keep doing those things we are familiar with, while at the same time hoping that our situation will improve significantly. So minsan yung ginagawa natin, alam naman na natin yung resulta, pero paulit-ulit pa rin na yun yung ginagawa natin. Hindi naman tayo nagkakaroon ng lakas loob para mag-improve or para palitan ito. Gaya nga po ng sabi ni Albert Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Leaders are at their best when they are calling on the others to join them as they willingly face the adventure of confronting rapidly changing conditions. Organizational change. So before starting a program of organizational change, the organization needs to determine the answers to these questions. What do we want to achieve with this change? Why and how we will know that the change has been achieved? Who is affected by this change and how will they react to it? How much of this change can we achieve ourselves, and what parts of the change do we need to help with? Real and deep change in an organization is not likely to occur unless all of its members are committed to that change. No leader, no matter how strong, can force people to accept new ways of doing their work if they aren't believers in those ways. No successful change will occur if the staff doesn't trust the organization's leadership, doesn't share the organization's vision, doesn't buy into the reason for change, and isn't included in the planning. So no matter how brilliant the change strategy looks to be, kung hindi naman po mapo-force yung mga employees or staff to deal with the changes, hindi po ito magiging successful. Kung walang support yung leader for the changes na magagawa or gagawin, mahihirapan po ito. Embracing change does not necessarily mean moving against strong trends or realities. As what Terry Paulson says, it's easiest to ride a horse in the direction it is going. In other words, don't struggle against change you can control. Learn to use it to your advantage. Change is not a logical or intellectual process. It operates on various emotional and interpersonal dimensions that are essential to mastering change. It challenges long-held assumptions and encourages non-traditional thinking. Here are the 6 rules for successful leadership. Control your destiny or someone else will. Face reality as it is, not as it was or as you wish it were. Be candid with everyone. Don't manage, lead. Change before you have to. And if you don't have a competitive edge, don't compete. These are also the reasons why organizational change fails. Inconsistencies between management words and actions. Announcing the change is not the same as implementing it. Not soliciting or addressing the organization's members' concerns with change. And failing to involve those who are being asked to change in helping to plan that change. Change that is done to people usually makes them more resistant to it. Not communicating a compelling reason to change or a strong vision for the future of the organization if the needed change occurs. Unclear or overreaching expectations without a good measurement system for evaluating the change. Not changing the organizational systems to align with the change, such as training, compensation, information flow, or promotion. Management materializing successful organizational change takes persistent efforts that may last years. Management blindly following a technique, which can be like trying to force a square peg into a round hole, and assuming training employees is the only change that they need to make. Before an organization begins to think about changing its procedures, practices, and mindsets, it is important to determine where it is with respect to the needed change. Ken Blanchard suggests the following questions to assess the situation. Is your organization on track to achieve its visions? Are your organization's initiatives delivering the outcomes desired by your board or stakeholders? Is it delivering those outcomes on time and within budget? Is your organization maintaining high levels of productivity and morale? Are your customers excited about your organization? Is staff energized, committed, and passionate? So, with these questions, it will help us determine the changes we want in an organization. So, next is change leadership versus change management. We often hear the term change management to describe the process of organizational change. However, there is a difference between change management and change leadership. That's not just a matter of semantics. Change management is a structured approach for ensuring that changes are thoroughly and smoothly implemented and that the lasting benefits of change are achieved. While change leadership is concerned with making the whole change process go faster, smarter, and more efficiently. So, change leadership concerns the driving forces, visions, and processes that lead to transformation of the organization, while change management tends to be more associated with smaller changes rather than a major transformation. So leaders and traditional managers tend to have different views of what change means. Traditional managers see change as a threat and as something that causes problems. Management usually aims at just maintaining consistency and order. So, si traditional managers, sila yung ah, nag-aalangan na magkaroon ng change. Kasi sila na yung nag stick na lang sa status quo. So, nahihirapan sila mag-adapt ng changes kasi natatakot sila. Kumbaga, nagsisettle na lang sila kung ano yung nakasanayan na nila. While leaders look forward to change as an opportunity to grow, to gain an advantage, and to attain excellence. Change brings something new, exciting, and challenging. So, kapaligtaran po siya ni traditional managers. Si leaders naman, siya yung nag-aim na magkaroon ng improvement yung existing policies or procedures ng isang organization. And gusto nilang magkaroon ng pagbabago yung nakagisnan, lalo na kung hindi na siya ah, nagagamit sa isang organization. So, para sa mga leaders, kung hindi nila ma-improve ang isang organization, ibig sabihin, hindi sila nagiging leader or hindi sila effective leaders. So, when you consider the components of successful organizational change, the qualities of a transformative leader become clear. To begin with, successful change within an organization requires a clear and thorough understanding of what change truly means. It requires the capacity to generate and use power of influence in the change process, and it requires the organizational leadership to provide the vision and support for the change of efforts. It is critical for the leadership to set priorities about what change initiatives will allow the organization to achieve its vision most effectively and efficiently. It requires an effective process for getting from where the organization is today to where it ultimately wants to be. And organization leaders have the responsibility for assessing and measuring progress so that necessary modifications can be made to ensure successful change. The best way to initiate, implement, and sustain change is to increase the level of influence and involvement from the people being asked to change. Leaders must listen to the employees. People need to feel that the approach to change will include their strong input and ongoing involvement. So, mas mabuti kung involve si employee or magbigay siya ng idea sa leader regarding the change na magaganap. Kasi makakatulong ito para ma-improve yung magiging arrangement or yung magiging changes sa isang organization. As Robert Lee says, people who are left out of shaping change have a way of reminding us that they are really important. So to end my presentation, I want to share with you the quote of Andy Warhol. They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself. Thank you.